Hello, viewers. I'm Vibhuti Jha. This is Jaipur Dialogue USA. You're welcome to the show. Thank you for watching us. Please like, subscribe, and support our channel as we go along. Please give your feedback. Yesterday, there was a very powerful debate that happened between the two vice presidential candidates, Mr. Tim Walz, and J.D. Vance of Republican Party. In my 40 years of being in America, I can tell you this was perhaps the most consequential vice presidential debate ever. There are a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons is that there have been very few presidential debates this year. We have had only two, one with Trump and Biden, after which Biden dropped out, and one with Kamala Harris, which had a disaster of its own kind. Now, why I say this was a pivotal debate, because this set the tone for the presidential election, in my opinion. This has actually defined the presidential election of 2024, November 5, when the voting will be done, in addition to mail-ins and other ones. This is significant also because it validated one key element, that Mr. Trump was asked that what will be the criterion for him to select a VP candidate. And he was very clear with one sentence response to that. He said that anything can happen to me. And the vice presidential candidate must be ready to step in the shoes of the presidency instantly. And I think what was evident yesterday was J.D. Vance was very presidential in issues and policies and the style of conversation that he had with the people. That's important. He had a conversation with the people. Mr. Tim Walz, on the other hand, emerged not presidential at all. In my opinion, he ended up becoming a note taker. I mean, even I have not taken that many notes in my classrooms when I was studying. Take it with a pinch of salt, but that's the way it looked like. Mr. Walz, many a times, looked confused. And remarkably enough, these two gentlemen remained very civil to each other. They did not chide, they did not, use foul language against each other, but they had moments in which J.D. Vance completely outwitted Tim Walz. And a couple of examples that I will give you. While you can always talk about abortion as an issue, but abortion is the issue being forced upon the people as a women's rights issue. It's more than women's rights issue. It is indeed a women's rights issue, no doubt about that. But it is also an issue on responsibility and accountability. That is something which the Republican Party is trying to bring forth in front of the people. That you cannot just get up in the morning, have unprotected sexual relationship, and end up being pregnant with the knowledge that if I get pregnant, I will abort the child. No, that's irresponsible behavior. Gone are the days when men and women, boys and girls did not know how to prevent an unwanted pregnancy. And I think that point was conveyed very well by J.D. Vance, that it is the people's vote, it is the state's responsibility, not a central mandate. And I hope people, particularly women, will understand that part very clearly, that do not subjugate yourself to a level in which you become an object of sexual gratification alone. And that conception of a child is a responsible behavior element. It's an accountability issue. Today you have tools available, you have knowledge available to prevent unwanted pregnancies. You cannot become cavalier about it. This is a country which gives you a wonderful sight, at least I know of that when the ducks and geese cross the road, the traffic stops on both sides to allow these little creatures to cross the street. We are caring for the life. We are life-caring people. At that time, we don't run over the geese and the ducks because they are, just a simple life that can be killed for my satisfaction. That's the point where people have to understand. And that's the agenda that Republican Party needs to push. More importantly here, there were certain issues, there were expertise were brought in. I think J.D. Vance delivered a coup d'etat, was a wonderful statement that, PhDs without common sense do not deliver policies. That's very critical. People talk about expert opinion for climate change and varieties of things, but the experts do not have the logic and the common sense when it comes to deriving the policy. The PhDs alone do not solve problems. People solve their problems. It's important to understand that. The other part on which J.D. Vance did exceedingly well was highlighting the industrial scale suppression of freedom of speech that is happening in the US for quite a while. Interestingly enough, none other than Facebook chief talked about and admitted that he was pressured into giving out news under the pressure of Biden administration. We know that now that the tech media houses are controlling the flow of information using algorithmic tools as to whose views are available and whose are not. The visibility factor, the likability factor, they are manipulating the information, the flow of information. The other part also was very important, that Mr. John Kerry, the climate czar, made a statement threatening that if we come to majority, we will have to deal with or do away with the First Amendment freedom of speech because of misinformation. How convenient is that? You are now trying to curb the freedom of speech to make a statement because Elon Musk has taken over X and information flow is both ways going all the way around, and you are talking about curtailing misinformation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about misinformation. The Russian collusion, COVID, vaccination. What happened to those misinformation that was peddled to an innocent public who was fearful of the various nature of things that were happening at that time? So this is again very important. The other issue, which is the illegal immigration. Democratic Party has a very smart way of demonizing the Republican Party by saying that if you are against immigration, that means you are anti-immigrant, right? Blaming the immigrant from the problem. This is a very clever way to misrepresent the truth. The Republican Party is not anti-immigrant. I am an Republican and I'm not anti-immigrant because I am an immigrant myself. The question is, who is coming? How are they coming? Are they breaking the law? Are they breaking the rules of the land? And if they are breaking the rules of the land, then they become an uncontrollable element, which is what we are seeing in many sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. So now the Democratic Party, to preserve the sanctity of elections, they do not want voter ID. Now that is a very pivotal issue which every single American needs to worry about. Whether you are legit, you are illegit, or whether legal or illegal, whether you are permanent citizens, naturalized citizens, or green card holders. That voting is a privilege. And voting is a right of the citizens. Not anybody and everybody can come and vote in my life, to impact my life. And that's what is important. Those who have broken laws, California has passed a law. Governor Newsom has been proud about saying that, voter identification will not be required. Now, that is a very shameful, tragic situation because now you are asking illegal people to vote. There was a news report that the Social Security Administration is finding that people are registering in large numbers without identification with the intent to vote. This is called backdoor influencing or capturing the election machinery. This is the election results. This is another issue on which the Democrats are the weaker side, and the Republican Party has to make sure that only legitimate people vote, only citizens are able to vote. Otherwise, what's the point in being a citizen? Then if anybody and everybody can vote, then we can also ask people in India to vote how America must conduct its business, because geopolitically we affect every other country's lives. So this is what is important. And we saw this particular debate turn out to be a remarkably presidential behavior of JD Vance. He brought in Usha Vance as a family, as a wife, in the discussion, and he paid tributes to her as a person. Why am I mentioning Usha Vance's name? Because majority of Indians are smitten by the name Kamala. And I'm saying, if you are smitten by the name Kamala, what about Usha? And why not? Because she also has the legitimate right or chance and opportunity to be the first lady. Mr. Trump was very prophetic in his statement, and that's why he chose JD Vance, the candidate who can step in into the shoes of presidency. Why? Because two attempts on his life were made, unsuccessful, and thankfully so. So as a result of which, JD Vance has a shot at presidency in 2028, and he has proven his material in the debate, maintaining calm, maintaining poise, not giving into points, answering the questions, not blaming anybody. And he made something very interesting. He questioned the CBS debate questioners when he fact checked them. And after he fact checked them, they stopped fact checking JD Vance. But there was one particular moment he humanized Donald Trump. That was truly remarkable. Not many people noticed that. There was an element in which he was asked this question, that in the past he has been very critical of Mr. Trump, whether he will fail in his economic agenda, he will fail as a president, and he would be XYZ. He, in a very remarkable, mature way, he said that he was also taken aback by the media manipulation and the media story peddled about Mr. Trump. And when he got to know him, when he began to understand him, he changed his stand. That made Mr. Trump a human being, not an evil that the Democratic Party perpetually paints him as. And he also defended Mr. Trump's record of 4 years, which is in front of everybody. Highest rates of employment, highest rates of minority employments, rising wages, lowest inflation. And he talked about the fact, very successfully, that if Kamala Harris, who has been vice president for as many 3+ years, if she wanted to do things, she could have done it. To ask for promotion for not doing what you were supposed to do, and with an attitude that give me a chance and I will do it when I'm the president. The question is, why nobody's asking, what did you do as vice president? You messed up immigration totally. You didn't visit the border. You were the border czar, and you didn't go to border. And you went to border only, second time in 3.5 years for a photo op last Friday. So the question arises that you equated the visit to border that she had not gone to Europe either. That shows a flippant attitude. And that's what is important. What we saw in the debate yesterday was policies talked about, and JD Vance excelled Tim Walz. And he is clearly set the agenda for this election, because this vice presidential debate talked about policies, and it set the agenda for the next for the election, because there are fewer presidential debates. And now we have the confidence that the future of America is safe in the hands of the Republican Party, because the Democratic Party agenda, they don't have policies, they have agenda. Please note that carefully. They have agenda, and they frame the policies around their agenda. That's important to understand. If you configured that, you will know where your vote must go. Thank you very much for watching us today. Please like, subscribe, and support our channel. Give your feedback. And as I always say, Satyameva Jayate, truth must triumph. And for truth to triumph, you and I have to act. Thank you.